Hey everyone, Steph Pastore with Long Realty. For today's video, I wanted to talk about selling your home, showing your home while you're still living in it. I've talked about tips and tricks for getting your house ready, for getting the best photographs out of it. And today we're going to talk about what happens when your house actually goes up for sale and you're still living in it and you've got to show it. So number one, the most important thing is that you've got to understand that you have to get out of your house for showings. You just can't still be there. You've got to leave and let the potential buyers and their agents come through the house. It's really important because buyers need to be able to feel comfortable. They need to be able to ask questions to their agent. They need to be able to have conversations and give honest feedback. And you really can't do that with the seller sort of right there lurking. So if at all possible that you can leave the house, be prepared to. And that's sort of what we're going to talk about, the tips for once you're out of the house, how to have the house ready. So the best thing you can do if you're living in the house before it even goes on the market is to declutter and depersonalize. That's for a few reasons. The depersonalizing allows a potential buyer to come in and start picturing their things in the house, start making the home theirs, seeing where their furniture and their stuff would belong. So taking down, all your personal photographs, really cool or unique artwork. You might want to keep it. You might want to get rid of it. It's sort of a case by case scenario. Your agent will walk through the house with you and sort of give you their feedback. But things that are really personal or really paint a picture of you and your family, you'd like to eliminate that as much as possible. And it also protects your privacy as well. That goes along with, making sure all your valuables and medications are locked up and, not having too much information about yourself around in your house. Decluttering might even mean, moving a bunch of your stuff to your garage. Most people I know do not even photograph the garage. Everybody knows what a garage looks like. If it's okay if it's stacked with boxes, I never care. Throw your stuff out there. So it might mean putting boxes of stuff in the garage, already sort of starting to pack up things you don't need. If it's wintertime, maybe putting all the summer clothes in the garage, decluttering as much as possible, get as much stuff out, maybe even renting a storage unit for a couple months while your house is on the market. And that's going to help in two ways. It's going to help the house look better because there's going to be less things in it. So it's going to look bigger. It's going to feel bigger. It's going to let buyers picture themselves in the house, which is our goal. And also it's going to make it easier when you get those phone calls. Hey, can someone come over today at 3:00 and see the house? It's going to make it easier for you to clean the house, get out the door, and have that house be spotless and shining when the buyers come in to look at it. So, the next tip is to have that conversation with your agent about what the best times to show the house are. Now, of course, yes is best. So I would love nothing more if my sellers are home that every single time I call them, can we show it at 1? Can we show it at 1:45? Can we show it at 2:30? I would love for them to be able to say yes and walk out the door, but that's just not always feasible. If you've got kids, especially small kids at home, or lots of pets, it can be hard to have the house spotless, load them all up in the car, and get out of the house. So it might be worth it to have that conversation with your agent about what is the best schedule. So maybe while the kids are at school, it's much easier for you to have the house really clean and good to go. And it's easier for you to, just put the dog and the cat on leash and get out the door. So maybe, showings are from 8 to 3, Monday through Friday, and then weekends you can do it. So have that conversation in advance. If your house is a little bit more full, and you won't be able to just keep the house spotless 24/7 and drop and run every time the phone rings, to set the schedule in advance. And that'll really help because then when buyers are looking at the house and their agents looking up the showing instructions, they can see, what times are available for showings. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is when you leave the house, hopefully it's spotless. The dishes are out of the sink, the counters have been wiped, any stuff on the floor has been picked up, thrown into bins. So hopefully the house is clean. And then there are a few things you can do to sort of set the stage. So what I do when I'm showing a house is I go in and I open all the windows, let in all the natural light, I turn all the lights on. And so those are things you can do. Make it look really good. Open the blinds, turn on the lights. Maybe if you have an Alexa, put on some quiet music. But one thing I do want to just touch on quickly, which sort of seems to be a hot button topic, is scents. Some houses will have lots of sort of like the Glade plugins and lots of smells going. And when you live in your house, you are for sure allowed to do whatever you want, because it's your house. It's your house. But I will caution you that not everybody loves scents. So to be very careful, if maybe you just cooked a bunch of chili and you don't want the house to smell like that, so you want to air it out, I would recommend maybe an essential oil diffuser, maybe a candle, something that's a lot softer, a lot less smelling than having like blasts of the fragrance all throughout the house. Another reason is because, your senses are really tied to your emotions. So you don't want someone to walk in and get a scent of something and it just gives them like the worst memory. And then all they want to do is get out of the house, or it's something that bothers their allergies. Like, my husband, he's got a ton of allergies. So we can't even have any of those plugins or anything because it instantly gives him a migraine. He's instantly stuffed up. He hates it. So the last thing you want is to turn off buyers for any reason that's not the home's fault if you can. That being said, keep in mind, it's not just scents of like the Glade type plugins, also things like what you're cooking. So maybe we don't do showings if 6:00 is your dinner time and you're cooking a ton of food, and the house, smells like steak and potatoes or something that's just a really strong smell, some roasted broccoli or asparagus or something. Maybe, we just don't do showings after 6:00 so that you can get in your kitchen, feed your family, and you guys can, let it air out overnight. So scent is a big deal, and it's a conversation we have to have a lot when people are staying in their house, because you don't really realize it because you're so used to the smells of your own house. So you have your house clean, you have it light and airy. You also want to make sure you have it temperature controlled. So if it's summertime, have the AC on. And if it is wintertime, maybe have the heat on low. You want people to be really comfortable because you want them to be able to stay in the house as long as they want to. So as anything you can do to make it a warm and inviting environment, make them really comfortable, please do so, because it really does help. And, you just want to, it's time to start mentally saying goodbye to your house and trying to make it more of like a model home than it being your house anymore. So the most you can do to help new people come in, make it their home, the better it's going to show and the better it's going to sell. One thing I always like to recommend, which is, the opening weekend, like say you go live on a Thursday afternoon, maybe that opening weekend, you and your family can get out of the house for, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, go do a little staycation, go visit grandparents, do whatever you want to do to get away for 3 days. That way, I can hold open houses, I can advertise, I can do everything to get as many people through in those first 3 days as possible. And hopefully get an offer and get it under contract before you even get back. And then we have to do all this with the showing stuff. I find that kind of helps the process be really a little bit smoother, because even if it doesn't go under contract that first weekend, a lot of people have seen it. So you're going to start getting less calls, and it's going to be, buyers who are serious. And I think that really helps. So that's always something to consider too. If you can afford to, maybe find somewhere to go for that opening weekend, just so we can get as many showings as is possible. Finally, always ask if you're going to live in the house, talk about having a floor plan and a video walkthrough. That'll help some of the buyers, be able to self-weed themselves out, because they can look at the floor plan, make sure that's going to work before they even ask their agent to make an appointment at your house. And, if they can do like sort of a video walkthrough, a video tour, whatever you want to do, one of the Matterports, the 3D things, it's all, whatever, it's fine. Give them some idea of the space and let them do some sort of virtual tour. Really helps let a buyer decide if they really think this is the house or not, so that they can self-weed before calling you for the appointment. Because the goal is to get, we would love it if every buyer who walked through your door thought it was going to be the one and was going to write an offer, but that's just not the case. So we do like to do everything we can to give the potential buyer as much information as possible, so that, now your time's not getting wasted. So anyway, those are just some tips and tricks on showing your house while you're still living in it. I know it can feel really overwhelming. It's a little bit stressful having to run and go. I totally get it. But, we're here to help. We're here to work with your schedule, and we're here to make the process as easy and stress-free as possible. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out, give me a call. I will talk to you later. Bye.